Mike, our daughter is getting married. Hurt my knuckles.
Killer bass line. Bum, 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 bum.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Strange New Show. Keith and Mike watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Today, we are going to be talking about the season finale of Season 3, Episode 10, New Life and New Civilizations. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Keith. Thanks for asking. We've done it. It took us 6 years, but we got through Season 3.
I mean, look, all the other shows, it took 30 years. We
Yep.
were 6 months after the finale, so that's a win.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Talking about this one, I think, as we say every week, I think it's going to be interesting about the opinions here. Hard not to draw some allusions, if you will, to one of our, some might say, top 5 Deep Space Nine episodes.
Sure.
Which, I mean, if only we had done a top 10 episode that we would drop onto YouTube next week, perhaps.
Yeah,
or
top
Keith,
10 episodes of Deep Space Nine, yes.
is it even possible that if you were to really appreciate us to the point where you were a patron, that could be available for you already over at patreon.com/K&M?
Wow. There it is. Yeah, early release of the top 10 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, patreon.com/K&M. Guess what? By the time you get there, you get the bottom 5 too.
Yeah.
Pretty,
I didn't put that up yet, but I will.
That's all right. Yeah. That's right. But, you know, time is not linear. Sometimes effect happens before cause here on the Patreon.
That's true. And, you know, one thing we can promise is that during the course of this episode, we're going to scramble your DNA, or at least the lore of it, so that by the end, it'll be a satisfying completion of your journey. I don't know. I really had a destination when I started that, but I didn't get there. I got lost along the way.
It happens. It happens. We all got lost. Yeah. So this was such an interesting episode. I had to watch it again because I watched it the first time and had all this particular feelings about it. But then it was a couple days ago. So it was the days when I like, wait a minute. So how was the word? And so like I had all these questions that I had to go back and watch it again to answer some questions. And,
I did as well. And you know, that ain't usually my bag because, you know, I try to write up some semblance of a breakdown. And in the past few weeks, it's been very freeform, and we've kind of just been chatting through it. But there was such a density of explanation and exposition that takes place in the front half of this that I had to go back. And not only did I go back, but I had to reference the SRTs, basically the transcript of the episode, to even kind of try to get what the hell is happening.
I was on Memory Alpha reading up, like, wait, what had happened? How did that connect to this? So we both had to do homework to understand this episode.
Isn't a great sign, but I actually think I came away, that helped me appreciate it a little bit more. We'll talk about it. Why don't we start, Keith?
Yes.
And just jump into the conversation.
Let's talk about this episode. So this is the season finale, and as of when we are recording this in February 26th, this is the last episode we can talk about until season 4 begins.
Maybe you'll mention this in trivia, I don't know, but I believe JD makes, I believe it was JD. If it wasn't JD, it was, we had some new friends join us on the watch along, which was awesome. Awesome new voices with great opinions. It's so cool. Please join the team for the watch alongs. But someone brought on the information that this was filmed with the potential, when it was filmed, that it could be a series finale if necessary.
It had that feeling. Definitely at the end of it, referencing the 5-year mission and having Kirk and Spock getting together. Like, that was, I had that thought. I didn't know that particularly, but I was like, this could work as a series finale.
And I think I would have been wholly satisfied.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been satisfied.
It would have been okay. It is not what I would have wanted for a series finale, but also, like, it's tough to do a series finale when you've only done 30 episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you just don't have the narrative momentum and the character momentum to really do much. So it was a perfectly satisfying way to end the season. So we'll get into it. So this aired on September 11th, 2025. The top song, still. We're gonna hunt them demons.
We're gonna continue to go up, up, up.
And how are we gonna do that? We're gonna hunt them with K-pop. That Golden was still the top song. The top movie, interestingly, not related to K-pop Demon Hunters. The top movie was Demon Slayers, Kimetsu no Yaiba, which was an anime film. Which I did not know that was the top film, and I had to check it, but that was what the Wikipedia said.
Will you allow me a quick aside, Keith?
When have I been ever able to stop you?
So that our song, we're going up, Scooby-Doo. I find it, speaking of wholly satisfying, I find it wholly satisfying that is nominated for an Academy Award, destined to win an Academy Award.
It seems like it, yes.
In the face of our friend of the show, Steven Schwartz, who wrote 2 new songs for that bajillion-dollar Wicked movies just to get an Academy Award, and neither were even nominated.
Yeah, it was tough. We watched Wicked 2 a couple days ago. And it is tough to write new songs for material that's 20 years old because you're just not in that vibe. It just doesn't sound like it comes from it. And whether if it had originally been there, you would have just integrated that into your understanding of that score. But after all this time, after this musical momentum, so to speak, it is hard to add stuff without it feeling like it's been added.
Well, adaptations generally are more successful when you're... Well, I don't know. I want to say more successful, but it's an easier exercise to take something large and try to condense it into a movie form. But to take something that's just 2.5 hours and make it 6.5 hours, like extend it to that degree, it's difficult.
I think it suffered from being more than twice the length of Act 2 of Wicked. Anyway.
Yeah.
Unrelated. So much more on topic. With the concept of Star Trek and Strange New Worlds, because we are focused. We are focused like a laser beam. This is the weekly world news headline from 20 years ago. Guess what? We got some coyotes protecting an alien baby from the cops. Well ahead, defending these poor alien baby immigrants from ICE. Definitely on the coyote side.
I often find these subheadings even more satisfying, and this does not disappoint. Bigfoot crashes wine tasting.
I mean, you want to see how the Merlot
He's got a
is.
refined palate. Good news! Handyman patches hole in ozone layer. And then Cheney living in Fort Knox with a king. Well, he's got a scepter and a crown, which is I don't quite understand it, but I enjoy it.
With the gold. It's a gold bar,
yeah,
not a scepter. He's living in Fort. Yeah. I mean, I can think of a certain political leader who would probably be best served Scrooge McDucking in Fort Knox. But anyway, so this episode was directed by Maha Virvio, who last directed, or Virvio? I don't know how to pronounce that. Who last directed Hegemony. And it was written by Dana Horgan and Davi Perez, who last worked on 4.5 Vulcans. So we just have a sous-son. I did not have this. I'm glad that you gave us, or JD or somebody gave you the piece of trivial trivia, because it's not part of this. But we do have this. Now Keith, waste your time.
With what?
With trivial trivia. So, just very quickly, Pelia mentions that she was once hanging out with a time-traveling doctor. This is the second Doctor Who reference of this series. In an earlier episode, the TARDIS could be seen on the hull of the Enterprise. Appreciate the, little handshake back and forth among the iconic sci-fi franchises. So when Pike says, okay, you're talking about a science so advanced it might as well be magic, he is paraphrasing the third law of Arthur C. Clarke's, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. From Profiles in the Future, the 1973 revised edition, which is such a great perspective on stuff. Because if you think about an ant and Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. It's magic. Netflix still feels like magic, but that is also how I have always conceived of higher power and religion, that sort of stuff. Like, it's certainly possible, but it might just be advanced technology. But it's certainly a very sci-fi concept, very Star Trek concept, which is...
And it brings up, I think it's central to a very interesting Star Trek debate, conversation, in that at how much technobabble is needed, right? Because at times I feel like, look, it's just magic in a way, right? But I feel like you have to toe the line to say, like, look, we're taking a swing at our characters trying to understand XYZ. I think you can undersell it to a point where you're like, well, you didn't even make a try. Of course, there's times when you can overdo it, which we get a lot of episodes a lot of examples for in this series, in my opinion. So it's but at the center of it is that nougaty goodness, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's all kind of magic, like pew pew laser swords. So.
Well, and Star Trek has sort of two lanes with this, right? Because it is like, oh, here is a science explanation that we, in this fictional universe, understand because we are more advanced in science. Mm-hmm. And then there are situations like, oh, this is like a Q godlike creature, which we can't even begin to conceive of how you have these powers. But we know that on some level there is some sort of a scientific explanation for why you have these powers. And you're speaking of Deep Space Nine, right? It's the Bajorans' concept of the prophets versus the Federation concept of the wormhole aliens, right? And, you could say that it's a distinction without a difference, right? They are beings, they are super powerful, whether you think that is based in science or whether it becomes a religious faith, kind of a splitting the hairs there, but it is sort of where we're going here. And obviously we're going to have some questions about the sort of scienciness of what we're about to talk
that
about.
brings me up like a stopgap they often use too, which I find interesting as both a plot assistant, is the Prime Directive, right? You would think, well, okay, if we've got to the place now where we can light beam away most injuries, right?
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to give that to planets who need it, right? But we have this rule in place, warp drive, timing, blah blah, which ethically I don't even know if that holds water.
Oh, well, I mean, debate the cons of the reason for the Prime Directive. My God, that's like the whole point of the show.
Right, but I'm saying, yes, we could have that, but I mean, like, as a plot device, it's very helpful, because otherwise, if you could just go laser beam away all the planets that are suffering, we would probably have done that. So a reason why we can't do that gives us a reason to have to go undercover or to go, to do more fun things.
Yeah, well, but also I think like that's the more interesting philosophical situation where it's like, if you give technology to civilizations that don't know how to use them properly, it usually destroys them.
Okay, that's fair.
It's talking about colonialism, right? Every time another population has been colonized by even the ones with the best intentions, that civilization is usually destroyed.
Yeah, like I have the medicine to make you all better, but also if I sneeze, I kill everyone.
Exactly, and so it is it's an colonization sort of a concept that you wait until you're on equal footing, or at least vaguely equal footing, before you interact, because it doesn't work very well, even with the best intentions. So speaking of people with the best intentions, it is our guest stars, including Paul Wesley as James T. Kirk, Melanie Scrofano as Marie Batel, Killian O'Sullivan as Roger Corby, Dan Jeanette as Sam Kirk, Chris Myers as Dana Gamble on the iPad, and Zesperez as the big bad monster, and of course Geralt Kane, everyone's favorite vampire. You want to know who doesn't suck our blood, but nourishes our blood with their hard-earned money, Mike?
That was real well done, Keith. Oh no!
Oh no!
What the heck?
Oh God! Everything is I'm frozen. You're frozen. To think there's.
Oh, here it is. You're not. Okay, I don't know where anything is. Oh, that's supposed
Read
to be
fast.
working here.
Read
but yeah.
fast.
Bryant, Kimmel Biersack, Jamie Lubin, Jason Mo, Deborah, Peter Bank, Holmes. Is there music here usually? Joshua Cronin. There it is. DC, Anton Thies, Mike, Anton Hayes. Oh my God, I'm so thrown. I'm just thrown. Is there music?
There should be music.
No, that's
It's
different.
all coming in one piece at a time.
Oh, you know what? I know why. I put my Dropbox folder in a new place. It's re-downloading all the assets. Thank you to all these people. Oh my God, Jen made us breakfast. There's so much happening. Listen, we appreciate these people. I already mentioned they're watching our top 10 list right now. We got some new members joining the team. I'm not sure if they've been updated. Who knows what's in the text file?
I think so.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody. If you're new and I didn't say your name, get used to it. But also, we appreciate you seriously. Lots of fun stuff in store. I say that all the time, but I do mean it. And of course, the Hall of Famers, the people that are being downloaded as we speak. Casey Clark, Brian Coffin, Jason
Do you
Moe,
really want
Joshua
him to
Cronin,
try and say your
The
name?
Mysterious Ann, Worf's Boot Shivs, Colin, Quark, Peter, CRM, Jennifer Massanova. Wow, I wonder if she knows she's still be on the internet. Godlover69, Charles Babbage, Kevin Miles, Frank Grinch, Brian Kilber, Beersock, JD Makes, Ryan Chesley, Jan by Anton Thies, Merritt Neath, Jamie Lubin, Mike, Nikolai Ivanovich, Lobachevsky, Alan, and Carl Fisher. I can't believe there's so many names on that list. It makes me so happy. Is there music for this?
There should be.
I don't think there is.
I don't know. You built this one.
I didn't put it into this show. No, it's in for the future. But you know what? We don't need music because the music is in our heart.
The music in our hearts. There it is. You beat me to it.
Shall we go to the screening room?
Let's go to the screening room.
I hope it's there.
I don't know. We'll find out.
I won't give it away, but I am. All right, let's just roll. That's a good one too.
Okay.
I really do appreciate that one. And then I hit this button. Yes.
It's very dark. Oh, there we are.
Well, we open on something you don't get very often here on the Enterprise, Keith. Genuine good news. Batel is beamed aboard, officially cleared to return to duty. She's promoted. She's the director of Starfleet's JAG. Real weight, real authority. Notably, she's very much going to have to be on Earth. Pike brings her to his quarters for some hanky-panky, but no, it's a party. It's warm, it's casual, it's fun. Everybody gets to wear their casual clothes, which they do very well in the show, I have to say. Everybody looks real good, except for Scotty, who rolls in wearing his formal kilt. Everybody laughs because it's kind of that joke where you tell the one person to come dressed up in a suit.
And they've done this before. That is like a running gag on the show. The new person always goes through this gag.
But like what I do like, I will say here, is they keep it real jovial and they're not really mocking. It gives that workplace, we are all friends vibe, which is really nice. The ensemble has done yeoman's work despite some of the uneven writing, it like actually having some relationship. During this, Chapel has to step away to take a call from Corbs, who's out doing his thing in the bidet system. Sky Gowan. Some great names.
The bidet system?
Yeah, the bidet. He's deep up in there.
Is it near Uranus, or is it...
It's much further up. Okay. Following on research tied to entities encountered on Vadia 9, Chapel relays the details. Spock clocks something unsettling, Keith. The name of the name of the city where he's visiting closely matches Kalekachna, which was a phrase apparently spoken during the Vesda when they had that big battle.
Kalima.
I didn't remember it, so I'm glad they expositioned it. And the coincidence hangs in the air. The teaser continues. We are on Skygowan City now. They have this like really deep cult-like belief system.
Can we just stop for a second and talk about how cool this visual is?
Yeah, you know what I was saying is, though you and I have been not satisfied with the volume as a device, the upgrade in matte painting abilities, right?
Yes.
Very much the same type of framing we used to do, establishing shots using matte paintings. This is more digital, and these work for me.
Well, because we were able to fly around. It's a 3D model. But
yeah, it's awesome. It's
fantastic.
interesting how our brain allows that to be like establishing shots. There's like still, because there's still imagination necessary. I don't know. I agree with you is what I'm saying.
I think it looks fantastic.
So we've got Colt City. We're above the clouds. It's very Bioshock, Skyrim in a way. Not Skyrim. Infinite. Bioshock Infinite. And I really love the high chamber suspended above the surface. Corby has spent weeks' time earning trust to get to the deep chambers.
Look how cool that is.
Yeah, and in order to get access to that, he had to do Corbying and get to know the people. And I think we don't really see any of that, but it's understood that he spent the time to do it. And and it's definitely dangerous. He wants to know who the Vesda are. It's a great setup. Back on the Enterprise, Scotty is doing some maintenance on the medical transporter, and it's got to run some diagnostics, and then he notices something's adrift. This is the part in my first watch I totally biffed.
The pants were so tight. Stuff does tend to get adrift.
Yeah, but Keith, interestingly, and I this has never happened to me, he looks down into the diagnostics, and what he sees is some lingering pattern data. And what we can relate to, it's fragmented and incomplete for sure, but unmistakably real and disappointing. Basically, there's some stuff isn't right in the readings, right? There's somebody did something with the transporter that they shouldn't have. That's all we get.
Well, something has been reconstituted. I forget exactly when we find out what, but yes, something
it's not
has
yet.
been...
We just know it's a miss at this point.
Okay, we don't know yet.
So now Corby is... Zeperez, which is this dude's name, announces that the faithful are about to be delivered to their
Capote takes them.
Yeah, so this is, if you're looking at the alien sky cults, you know what I mean?
Right.
This is the day they say, hey, this is the day we're going to do the thing, and you're going to see your gods, and it's not good. And Corby's like, uh-oh. I'm either going to see something really awesome, or I'm dead.
Dead as hell.
On Sky Gowan, blah, blah, I just said that. Sick Bay, Scotty now confirms it. The transporter pattern belonged to Ensign Dana Gamble. Remember the guy we thought was going to be a great character and then they killed him? Well, he's not totally killed. Reconstructed from emergency backups, fully reassembled and left the ship. So unclear at this point whether it's really him or just I think it's just his zombie parts.
Well, yeah, because you can't reconstitute a person from the pattern. You can reconstitute their body.
But not the eyeballs, because those got blasted. So it depends, I guess, yeah. But can they reconstitute some Skeletor cosplay? Because somebody did. And I think your results may vary. Some people might think that's very cool. I think it looks like hot garbage.
Really? I like it.
I understand it though. It's very it's very performative, and it's very much he's supposed to be the god or whatnot. But I did write something, so I'll read it. Inside the high chamber, Zeperez turns to Corby and reveals the truth. He has taken Gamble's form. The Vesda didn't just escape confinement, Keith. It built a human body and walked out wearing it like a meat suit.
Yes.
And then we have the credits. So what a teaser, right? Colt.
Oh, yeah. Super great. We're continuing that story.
In Act 1.
And here's one thing that we complained all season about. Take us to some strange new worlds and new civilizations.
Here we are.
Boom, here we are. New world, new civilization. Love it.
So Pike gathers the senior officials in the ready room. They assume Corby's emergency transponder activation is directly tied to the Vesda movement. Makes sense. They're competent here. Sky Gowan's relationship with the Federation is tenuous. The planet trades with the Orions and yada, yada, yada. So they can't do diplomacy. We can never do diplomacy. We got to go down in secret landing party. Batel insists she wants to join the mission because she interacted with the Vesda before. Plus, she's got this sense that something's pulling her towards something and, blah, blah, blah. So she's telling...
She's got the itch of destiny.
She's got the itch of destiny, and she needs to box it out, as is often the case on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And Pike's like, I don't like it, but, let's make out a little bit, and we'll decide later.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going on this initial mission, P.S. So down on the planet's surface, Una Chin O'Reilly and Mbenga, they run some interference as La'an does this neck pinch, which is very funny. And then after the subtle assault is over, the team proceeds into...
So I had some questions here.
Sure.
So I get we have cool costumes or whatever, but why did she have to go redhead? Was that just she just Chapel was like, I kind of feel like being a redhead today. Let's incorporate that into the costume. Or are we to take from this there are no blonde people on this planet, even though they're like humanoid?
Well, now that you've said those words out loud, I'm glad we could consider them. I don't think anybody else thought that through. I think it was...
I'm paying a lot more attention to Chapel than most people are.
I think it's probably... I have no answer to that question other than I think they were like, it's a very red motif, right?
It is.
I think they were looking at the palette swatches and somebody in the makeup room was like, no, the blonde is going to pop too much. We got to go red.
Then the makeup is reddish hued for everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely an aesthetic decision and less so than anything that has anything to do with...
Is it like red culty stuff? I don't know. They've been red pilled.
Red. Keith, I'm now realizing how hard it is to read and listen and discuss and then go back and read again.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Back on Enterprise, Scotty and Spock consult with Pelia and Sam Kirk. Together they explore the idea that the Vesda exploit natural... Oh, this is great. This is just words I'm saying. Vesda exploit natural folds in the interdimensional space, structuring analogs to ley lines. They act as transit coordinators. One of these pathways leads directly to Sky Gowan. Scotty likens them to bus routes through dimensions. It makes little sense, but at least they seem to know what's going on. If that's true, then the implications, Keith, are grim. Vesda wouldn't need to physically return to Vesda 9 to free the other imprisoned baddie Vesdas there. They could access them via a remote, backdoor direct VPN and portal, release everything. Yeah.
Like a little wormhole-y deal. Yeah.
There's so much time.
Thing.
Yeah, they talk about it. They make it more complicated than it really is. But what's nice is that it's very Ghostbusters. They're like, all the ghost activity is here, and here it is, and we cross the lines here, and then there are things, and they intersect. Aha!
But before we get into all of that,
sure.
I think it's only fair, if I'm going to notice and point out Chapel hair things, that I have to talk about the travesty that is Spock's hair in this
he's got
screenshot.
An under-perm curl going on.
What? Why are you doing Spock like that?
I think it's a bad wig day. I think we used the wrong take, is what I think.
I don't know. This was grim.
I think that was lost in the edit. That's what I think. That's on the editor. Because it's better there, see?
But yeah, it's still not great.
No, it's not great. It looks like he's wearing a toupee.
He's definitely wearing a toupee.
Yeah. So they find Corby, and he's like, you shouldn't have come, and he does give you some lore. It's good he's there. He gives some lore about how deep their faith runs. They genuinely believe they're gods, and their devotion makes them do extreme self-harm. If only I could prove that to you by everybody stabbing their eyeballs out. It's nasty, and you would think it's too much, but then if you look at present-day us, we can relate to a cult that that would stab themselves in the eye so they don't have to see the truth. I would say it's almost a little too on the nose or
on the
eye
eyes,
socket.
at least. Yeah.
Not
easy on the eyes.
No, but yes, we get
also red.
A lot of red. A lot of cool extraing there. For sure. There's these people all got to be on Star Trek and dress up.
I like his helmet dealy. And I'll tell you what, I also think it's necessary.
Yeah, he's got to be, it's very Pharaoh, right? It's very...
It's very from an archaeological standpoint, that's a very common thing.
Yeah.
But also, here's the thing. Chris Myers, the actor, who I found delightful as Dana Gamble, the nurse, is not a particularly scary or intimidating person. Even with his eyes blacked out, he's just kind of reads nice and sweet and I'd want to hang out and I don't know. He gives off the energy of a teddy bear. And so it's a bit of a stretch to have him be this terrifying monster. And so I think having the mask is helpful.
I think you're dead right. And he was played very comedically in his first turn.
And sweet and open.
So it stands to reason. James T. Kirk contacts Pike to report that the U.S. Farragut is en route to assist because, as we know, Kirk is gotta Kirk.
He's got to get shoehorned into at least most of the episodes.
As the situation escalates, Uhura suggests attempting to contain the Vesda using one of the orbs recovered from Vladia 9. Because I had forgotten, so I'm glad somebody reminded us.
Got to put it back in the ball.
Corby believes that more orbs may be hidden behind that altar itself. Then the altar activates, And it reveals something no one expected, Keith. A verse written in Swahili that precisely recounts Joseph Mbenga's past. So now he's part of this whole thing, which is pretty cool. Faced with the idea that his own trauma is now woven into this place, Mbenga concludes that his presence on Skygowan isn't an accident. We're back to fate and drawing us all to one place. The altar scans him, opens up, but instead of revealing a containment orb as they expected, the Vesta erupts from the portal and drag Mbenga down to hell. Or no, I'm just kidding. The Validia 9 prison, or Vadia 9 prison.
So it teleports him to the prison, yeah.
Which is cool. I get that. We're allowing everybody's like PTSD and their trauma to be part of this whole tapestry, right? Is it sensical? Like, the entirety of it, is it sensical? I have questions later, but like, moment to moment, the why of it is where it gets confusing. Their decision, they punt on it, right? The why of it is just cause fate cause, right? Cause destiny cause. We can have a conversation about whether that's enough. Yeah. Or whether we needed to tie in everybody's stuff because it's a potential series finale. Like, well, because the Batel of it, I can make myself get behind. But like now we got to use everybody else. It becomes very this opening setup, and the first 60% of the episode is all this setup, is a lot. My credulity is strained, but
it is so much. It's hard to follow.
Yeah.
And
are you telling me I'm not doing an excellent job?
You're doing an amazing job. You're doing an amazing job. But if this were a series finale, like to spend most of the series finale on a guest star, like the guest star is the hero, the guest star is the deity, the monster. I'm assuming they thought it might be, but hopefully was not going to be. Because, like, Pike wasn't even, like, none of our people were the hero of the story.
No.
And the Mbenga part, I don't quite understand. Like, what are they trying to say?
I don't think they know who Mbenga is yet. He's a great performance, and it's been, like, we've talked a lot about a lot of different parts of him, and he was, like, a badass assassin killer guy. He was the dad who's keeping his daughter alive guy. He's the PTSD guy. He's the there's a lot.
But even within this story, like we have like this time paradox predestination, like he's written in the stone tablet of history. It doesn't really even do anything.
Well, it's interesting.
He sort of like slows down Vecna, whatever his name is. Vizio for a while, but that's kind of it. It doesn't really. Does he do something that I don't know about?
You just said it. What I think is interesting about the episode as we talk along is, and we can explore this at the end, is like where is any agency? I'd argue I can only really come up with two characters who show any agency in the resolution of the plot, and that's Kirk and Spock. They open that portal thing. They do the mind meld, like super navigation, which we'll get to, which is like at least them doing something to advance the plot. Everything else just kind of is happening. Well, let's continue.
Yes.
So
yes.
Faced with inside the prison, Demon Meat Suit Gamble begins the assault on the statue thing with powers of some sort. Mbenga's just kind of there, but Batel back on the Enterprise feels it. And she sort of kind of like transforms into like Captain Planet. So that's right, like
wind, fire, stone.
It's like her head explodes, and then she has Captain Planet eyes, which I believe I went back, which is an incredible screenshot.
It's our slate.
Yeah. So then we'll continue. I think there's like we go back to the planet for like a hot second. Yeah. So Pike gets called. He's having a chat, and he gets called to sickbay because Batel is, her eyes are planets now, and that's concerning to some. So she's getting scanned because she's all glowy and stuff, and her life signs suddenly match an ancient bioscan taken of the Beholder. And the Beholder I didn't really even like
the sort of statue
notice before, but now we're talking about it. This is my favorite write-up. The implication here is unavoidable, Keith. Biologically, Batel is the statue. Now, that's a metaphor, not simile. Because a simile would say she is like the statue, but a metaphor would say she is the statue. Thank you, 7th grade English. Does it make sense? Yes. Does it make sense? No. But it is a heck of a way to shortcut our way out of her whole confused DNA, history, and lore. It's cool, though, because she wants to be a statue. Those are the things I took away.
You wrote that?
Yes.
Okay. So...
Did I nail it? I think I nailed it.
I think I'm... let me put it this way. After hearing that, I'm not more confused. So... I went back and this was the part that I had to watch again. We're like, she is the statue is her. So, what we are told is that this is, the evil monster, Vecna, Vizio, Versace, whatever it is so evil that it has crossed paths with lots of different civilizations, and 4 of them have found some way to fight it. And because she has now, because of all of her journeys, has some of the DNA of all 4 of them. She literally captained planets with the DNA of all those things to create herself to be the super thingy to fight this thingy.
Yes, but we didn't figure that out yet. Right, we backdoor it, so all we know right now is she's the statue. Okay, that's what's important. I haven't written exactly what the specifics are because I did go back and read the transcript.
Okay, all right. Hopefully you'll help me understand the biology of it.
So another agency shortcut here. Back in the prison, Mbenga realizes the truth because somehow that the Vesda need his trauma, to escape for reasons. I guess because his trauma is the keymaster or something. So there's
his trauma?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. There's a brief struggle, and he somehow manages to use that to open the door to force the entity into another containment doorway, but not like the bad doorway she uses at the end, which buys us time, but doesn't solve any of the actual problems. It's just like we need an excuse to buy us some time.
Guys, am I just dumb? I feel like I'm a pretty bright guy, and I've watched this episode twice, and I still don't understand the machinations of all this.
Listen, I'm giving you the exactly what happened. Okay, so this is my favorite. As Batel recovers, she begins to piece together her own history. The Gorn embryos, Illyrian blood, the Chimera blossom. Each of those encounters altered her biology in subtle but lasting ways, factoring in epigenic adaptation. Of course, you have to factor that in. The idea that the Vesda represent a primordial form of evil. Batel herself theorizes that her hybridization allows her to inherit the adaptive traits of species that survived time and space and other such threats. And if interdimensional space allows effect to precede cause, then Batel might not be becoming the beholder. She may have always been it.
Okay, sure.
I gotta say, the commitment to techno-anthropological Darwinian sci-fi babble is truly commendable here. What is clear, though, is she is not greenlit for season 4.
But here's the thing. If you're going to use Darwinian technobabble, you can't fundamentally misunderstand Darwinian theory. You don't, the bird doesn't decide, it'd be really good to have opposable thumbs, so that bird just thinks on it really hard and grows opposable thumbs. It happens over thousands of years and generations, and it's random. It's not like this would be useful, so I'm going to do it. They're random mutations that give you a slight advantage over generations and generations. There's no intent behind it. You can't just manifest something else.
You know what? Cisco's angel mom tends to disagree. Remember, because he's like, "What? I just became the prophet, or what was it called? The
emissary."
The emissary. And she's like, "Nah, brah, you always been the emissary." And he's like,
"No, but that just means he was always a thing, but didn't know it. That is different from it would be really handy to
but
have
they're saying
another
he was
arm. So,
Yeah, you're getting caught up on the biology of it. I mean, I think they're trying to tell us, like, look, all the stuff, like, there's some sort of, like, magical element.
Well, clearly they're saying beep, 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 boop, boop. Don't worry
That's
about
what they're saying!
But if you're going to use genetics and biology and evolution as an explanation for this thing, your explanation can't fundamentally misunderstand what the thing is. You're just using the buzzword. And like all Star Trek fans, we're all science nerds. Like
yeah, I mean, like,
say that it was the zerp zop zoop zoop, and I'm like, okay, great, that's fine. But if you're gonna tie it to something real,
I don't know. I agree with your premise, of course, but I mean it's ridiculous. The whole thing is just like they're just trying to like tie off loose ends and just make it make sense, right? What I think is what I appreciate, I will guess, right, is they're committed to it, right? Like I like that they present us with all this crap, right? And then because there's no actual glue to glue it together into common sense, they use her sort of physical soul believing understanding. She understands it because it's in her biology, and she then sort of is the cipher to translate the ridiculousness to us. And I don't know.
I mean, like,
the attempt is strong enough that I will say, okay, you get a pass.
I don't give them that.
That's fair.
I think that there's something that one of the people at BMI used to say, which is a writing workshop for musical theater, unrelated to this, but it would be just like, this needs another pot of coffee, and like do another pass at this to like clean up the details.
I disagree. I think that is impossible. There's too much that would be true if all 3 seasons there had been some sort of a schematic or a plan saying we're leading here, like Deep Space Nine did, and now our task is to take what we had set up and stick the landing. This isn't that. This is, you were given 3 different stories with 3 different endings and being told to like find a satisfying way to tie it together. It's an impossible errand. I'm just saying, and I'm not forgiving them for that, but it's this here. We got to do what we got to do. The writers can only do so much.
No, but I think, give me 20 minutes to think by myself. I'll have one that at least passes the first smell test.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of okay with it, especially since we get all of that, just like deep, intense stuff, and you're sort of left reeling. But then they sort of boil it down for you in this next little bit right here. Pike says, "Don't be a statue fighter, Captain America." And Batel says, "But I must, and if you loved me, you'd let me be a statue fighter, Captain America." And Pike says, "Okay, but I'm coming, because I like to watch." And Batel says, "Gross, but okay." And Pike says, "But we're wearing the cool leather jackets." And Batel says, "That's cool."
This is my logic to the evolution aside. This is my favorite one of your summaries you've ever written.
Just watch what the next screenshots are. We almost were synced up.
Aw.
This is the conversation. So yeah. Captain America, fighter, blah, blah. But I'm coming because I like to watch. And boom.
Boom.
Cool jackets.
Cool jackets. I would like one of those jackets.
So they roll up to the door, best part. And they're like, oh, wait. We have no idea how to open it. We just like showed up. Okay, cool.
I mean, the cool jacket usually just gets you straight into the club.
That's true, and I guess she's like, oh, I'm the statue. I guess they did assume she would just open the door, right? I imagine that's a fair assumption if you're a god statue.
You would think.
But we're still discussing. There's always a strategic planning meeting happening. This could have been an email. Reopening the Sky-Gowan portal requires equivalent energy to Earth's sun. One starship can't generate enough power. It never can, but 2 can. But not just by themselves. They have to be perfectly synchronized anti-proton phaser streams. Clearly. But perfect synchronization, as we know, Keith, in life, requires something no targeting system can provide, not even in the future. So, Spock meets with, you guessed it, returning James T. Kirk, once again in the port galley, to propose the Vulcan mind meld. A shared consciousness that would allow them to generate as one. Kirk agrees on the condition that, hey, don't judge me about that particular memory involving Orion's second moon, you know what I'm saying? And casually invites him to use my name Jim since you're going to see my spank bank. Spock initiates the meld, linking himself and Kirk at the helms of the Enterprise and the Farragut, 2 ships alive, pew, 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 in a scene I think is very cool, looks very cool, makes sense. It's the first time we've done a plan on this episode that makes a remote bit of sense. I mean, last week we just shoved it in the hole, and this week at least we're taking our time and we're just shooting at it.
Yes. And we're doing all of this for 2 reasons. One, because we want to have a homoerotic Kirk and Spock / fiction section.
100%.
100% support. That's great. That's fun. But also so that we can synchronize what seems to be 2 very simple things. Rotating the ships together and pressing go at the same time. It is the 23rd century. We have drone shows which are able to take drones and light and do things in synchronization and create whole elaborate pictures for $40. We can't synchronize the ships and have them controlled at one time?
We've also not spent the past whole season developing a pilot character who can fly the ship and do these kinds of cool things, who will now be relegated to the side.
I get the point of we need things to be absolutely synced. And so if we are sharing a consciousness, we will be absolutely synced. But there's 15 things on my desk right now which are absolutely synced with 62 other things. From a technological standpoint, it is absolutely absurd that they can't synchronize these 2 ships. I get that's not what it's about. I get that we want to have a Kirk and Spock / fiction moment, and I understand, and it's great, and it's fun, and they're connected, and now they've broed out, and they see each other's spank banks. These are very important things, but come on.
Okay, so I'm going to call in our audience for help here.
Okay.
Because I'm not disagreeing with you. This is I often find myself in this position with you, Keith, is that I don't disagree with anything you're saying. However, what I'm saying is this. And I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying the episode recognizes what you just said. And yet we need to have this moment. And so they had the characters who are they told you why, right? They told us. You don't have to believe it, and you're not satisfied. You don't think it passes the science
smell test
because you have a Roomba that can go with the same speed as your cat, whatever. I'm saying it upsets you unequally to other Star Trek we watch. The smell test is always there.
That is a very fair point.
It's more egregious, I think, if it's nonsensical and they're not even trying to tell you. Look, they told us they need to fly. It needs to be perfect sync, to a degree that is not replicable by our future technology. And the only way is for them to watch the same movie. If you know what I'm saying. All right. So I'd like to know,
they have to get the clay with 4 hands to get the clay pot to go up.
Someone articulate. That's what I'm asking for help for. Someone articulate what I'm trying to say better.
What you're saying is just cool it and go with it.
Haters
nerd.
Gonna hate is what I'm saying.
Turn off your autism, nerd. Just enjoy the story.
They told you it needs to be perfect. This is the only way, okay?
I mean, time goes by.
The best part,
slowly.
though, and I think indicative of what I'm saying and what you're saying, is we spend way more time on a very coolly, well-edited, elaborate mind meld montage than we do on the 4 frames of the beams shooting. We see the upside down ships and then the beams shoot.
I mean, the visual of the ships sinking and finishing together, it's cool. It looks good. There it is.
They finish together, and it is satisfying. It's shared. It's wonderful. Okay, so let's get serious here. But Pike and Batel, the door opens. They step into the prison. Is the exact moment that the Vesda break free again. Cosplay Skeletor roughs up Pike. Batel begins to summon the forces of good or whatever and energize before the badass fight that we've been expecting the whole episode, the big fight. But then reality fractures. And Mike has to rewind twice to make sure that he didn't miss a scene.
I'm trying to catch. Here we go.
That's okay. We are suddenly inside Pike's home on Earth. There's no visible transition. There's no explanation. Calm and domestic. They're celebrating a 2-year anniversary. Anniversary. Batel gives.
That's how you know the marriage isn't going well. If your anniversary is half anniversary, half adversary.
Pike gives Batel a novelty
adversary.
cooking apron that reads Chef Pike. It's wonderful. Neither of them express any sort of confusion about their surroundings. Time shifts again without warning. Now they're married. Their home reflects a longer shared life. Time has passed. They have a young daughter now. They're watching her play. Pike is preparing for a Starfleet assignment aboard the USS Lucas, a Class J training vessel. This is the assignment that he's been expecting, where the accident happens that blows it all apart, and you can see that weight upon him.
And I think this is the acting in this moment is beautiful, where they sort of he knows where he's headed.
The directing too, because there's a lot of time jumps and you have to really know emotionally what they know and what they don't know and portray that. Time shifts again. He returns from the training exercise, confused. He's unharmed. The anticipated accident didn't occur. The baffle plate never ruptured. He's visibly surprised. Batel explains that her fear of losing Pike gave her the ability to tear through space and time during her confrontation with the Vesda. She states that this may have altered events. Now, first question before we continue through.
Yeah.
In this conversation, we see a shooting star, which is kind of a recurring motif through this.
That and the door knocking.
Yes,
those two things happen at once. Every time that happens, yeah.
So, I don't want to spend time answering this question right now. I guess we can. There is, I think, intentional obfuscation here between how much she is fully aware of the full context of this pocket universe, which is I'm calling it a pocket universe, basically, a pocket life within a universe, within a, and what he is fully aware of. Clearly, it seems clear she knows more, but also, are these time jumps that are happening for us shortcuts? Are they living the full breadth of this, or is he getting snippets of, like you would in life flashing forward? Are they having a my life flashes before my eyes type of experiential?
Or is he experiencing the entire time of this? That is so the question is: are we doing the visitor, or are we doing the inner light?
Right. I don't think they're telling us. I have my thoughts and what I want to believe. I will say, what's interesting about the two devices, the shooting star he recognizes the first time, the second time, well, he sees it both times. The door knocking is not consistent. The door knocking she doesn't always hear, but he does. So initially someone in the chat had postulated that perhaps it is just for us. It is a device for us to be ushered through this shortcut. But that can't work because he acknowledges it, and at one point she doesn't hear it. So that is interesting that they very specifically chose for the door knock to not always be acknowledged by both characters, even though it is. And I think it's clever because a couple of the times the door knocking is specific to the action. When the daughter comes in, I think, which is the next scene if you want to
Right, and when he's coming back.
Yeah,
right.
When he comes back, and then when she comes back in with April's son, and she's getting married to Admiral April's son, which is the next little bit of stuff. Great makeup work, by the way, to just show time passing for both of them.
I want that pie.
Oh, yeah, so much cooking. But it's clear here that the apron is representing this life in a way. So, and this is all beautifully acted. We'll talk about the actual specifics of it or the performance of it later. Let's get through it. So, their daughter is not blah, 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 blah. The two of them are there to ask for their blessing. Of course, they enjoy it. They mention that she benefited from advice from Uncle Spock with a clever nickname. Pike and Batel receive the news and respond. They're moved. Time advances once again, and this is a great shot. We establish that more time and more life has passed, and Pike is now elderly. He sits bedside with Batel. She lies dying in bed. It's quiet, intimate. Batel reassures Pike that she will always be with him. We see the shooting star, and she tells him again that this entire lifetime, right, was a gift. one that she needed to experience in order to say goodbye. So I'm parsing the language very specifically because maybe will help us piece it together, because it's the most interesting puzzle of the whole damn series.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Once again, a shooting stars in the sky. Pike turns to answer that incessant door knocking, ticking of time, if you will. He opens it and immediately finds himself back on Vadia 9 in the present. The alternate future has ended.
So should we talk through this now, or the alt life, or do you want to wait to the end?
We're so close to the end, and we'll do it. We'll do it before we do like the awards and stuff.
Great.
Once the influence is broken, I mean, I kind of shortcutted this because she just defeats the baddie. Like,
doesn't really matter.
Like she Captain Planets, and I guess just the combining of, it's more Voltron, really, the combining of the different civilizations of good defeat evil, and it does what it's supposed to.
Incredible visuals.
Awesome.
It's very Doctor Strange for a moment there.
Yes, and it's also just the technological advancements. I mean, hold this up to when Kira and Jake were laser eye beaming.
Right.
It's the same scene, but like, here's what we can do now. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great.
And it's awesome. It's really cool, and it's well done. So the influence is broken. They're re-imprisoned. Chapel says goodbye to Corby, and he gives her this like flash drive that's like, yo, look at all this cool stuff I've been exploring, which makes sense, right? He Indiana Jones is, and he gives them what will be the kind of like start. What would you say, the first side mission to begin their grand quest?
That's right. Well, I mean, the 5-year mission, obviously setting up, the original series.
And then we get. So this is wonderful, and it's another kind of goodbye and discussion of long distance and yada yada. Spock and James T. Kirk are playing their game of 3-dimensional chess, exchanging insights, yada yada yada, setting up we're a good team, blah 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 blah. But the best part of this scene, I mean, everybody likes the remember berries of the setup. I just love there's a moment of recognition where La'an recognizes that Kirk has seen the thumb drive that Spock keeps in his sock drawer. And she's like just mortified and turns around. It's wonderful.
Pretty funny.
And then finally in his quarters, Pike reflects with number 1. He looks at the cooking apron, which is a small artifact of a life that no longer exists but did exist, but mattered. Memory, he's realizing, is as real as the president, and no one you love is ever gone, as we see a montage of life on the ship ongoing. And then finally, like Keith mentioned, on the bridge, Spock reports that Corby's research has uncovered enough uncharted worlds to begin this 5-year mission. Yada, yada, yada. I think they're going to say punch it, because I'm so used to our rewards, but they just say light this candle, and they get on with their mission, which would have been a place to leave it, but instead, we got 2 more seasons, baby!
We do indeed. And he sees the shooting star.
The shooting star, yes. The final. Bring it home, the 3s.
Yes, indeed.
So, let's move into the punchies and have a conversation before we...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Punch that shit!
Punch it!
Just punch it, man, just punch it!
Punch it!
Let's punch it.
Hit it.
Yo, Adrian!
It's the Punchies!
Goddamn, Mike. I mean, that really went for it.
Really something.
Well, this actually fits, because clearly this is the best moment of the episode. I mean, this...
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The alt life.
So I'll first say that, despite as confusing and all the stuff that was happening, and whether you were on board with it or not on board with it, or interested by it or whatnot, to be fair, we could have probably done that in about 5 minutes. Just set up something somehow.
Yeah.
And given me more of this, or just had a 15-minute episode with just, like, it was so well done. This one scene is so well written, so well performed.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
knows exactly the right restraint, knows exactly how to use imagery and metaphor visually, and provide emotional touch points, the like life memories, right? A simple night on the couch talking about things you're stressed about. That moment where your daughter asks for your, a permission to get married, and you know that she's going to be okay because you like the guy. The moment where the dread you've been having your whole life didn't happen, right? It's not great news, but it's just like it didn't happen, and saying goodbye, and it wasn't even this like big tearful thing at the end. It was like it was a life fully lived. Yet, knowing that the audience has been pre-served the context that she's not going to make it, and he's not going to make it. You know that, and so they don't need to belabor it. It sits in the air, it hangs there, and they use that as fuel for the simple emotional beats. It's really, it's sort of the antithesis of everything we ever complain about on this show. And so, in my opinion, very effective, and it kind of brings the themes of the episode, or I guess it's going to really counter. It says what the episode is about or should be about. The problem we're going to have, I think, shared, is that the rest of the episode doesn't really support it, but it's so good, in my opinion, that it doesn't matter. The rest of it literally just doesn't matter. The like whatever's, the whobies, what's it's, doesn't matter, because this is what we were leading to. It's just like a perfect little 5 minutes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like, for me, this section of this episode, I was like, holy crap, this feels emotionally resonant, beautifully done, beautifully written, beautifully acted. I became invested genuinely in the Pike Batel relationship that I was like,
right,
okay,
yeah,
with all the way through this. And so it was like a little bit of this beautiful little moment of like what the potential of all of this could be. And so and the rest of it's just sort of like lights and noises and flip-flops that don't really necessarily make any sense, but this makes sense. And I loved this as the heart and soul of the episode. But you're right, it sort of exists in its own pocket universe, right? But and it's like, it's sort of like it was a gift to all of us of like, here's what this could be, right? And so it was, I thought it was really, really interesting. I mean, I have so many questions about like, wait, what is she? What are her powers? How does she have the ability to do this? How does she know how to do this? When, genetically, obviously, it's very confusing. But I love the idea of it. I love, like, okay, so for whatever reason, she has these godlike powers that because of Gorn DNA, and I don't know what?
it makes no goddamn sense.
It makes no goddamn sense. However, let's pretend the rest of it made sense. And then she was able to, for her and for Pike, give them this beautiful life. It's sort of the opposite of what O'Brien goes through in the prison, right? You're experiencing an entire life in your mind, but it's real. It's the inner light, and it is the most beautiful gift you could possibly give somebody. And especially, it's incredibly emotionally resonant, well, for both of them, now that we know that Batel is gone, but for Pike, knowing his future, to get to live the life that he's not going to be able to because of his fate, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's really a beautiful idea. It's a wonderful thing, and I don't know what we are to necessarily believe about whether he got flashes of it, that he was aware of, or flashes that he was not aware of. Did he get to experience all of that life in between? I want to believe that he was able to experience in real time that entire existence. And
yeah, me too. That's what I want to believe.
And so, you know what I'm going to. None of the rest of it makes sense. We get to make up whatever rules we want, and we just.
I think for me, it's that weird, not weird. It's that very brief moment. It's just it's an establishing shot when they're in the room together at the end, and we pan down the hallway of all the pictures of the moments lived in between the snippets. That's to me is the visual clue saying like it all happened. Now the question then is, I don't think he recognizes, like, we never talk about, like, the fraction point, like, when it started, right? Because clearly the moment in the prison cell, the inception of this pocket universe, still existed for them. They mention it. There is mention of it within the scene. And so they recognize that, like, this time jump, this happened. We got transported and it happened. So, begs a lot of questions, though, like, did they continue to serve on the Enterprise? Like, are we just jumping in the future and they're lost those years between?
No, I take from it that they lived part of their alternate universe was they defeated
the Vesda and
the Velociraptor, and they both
life
survived.
Continued. Okay,
and they continued through all the way through.
So when he comes back, it's like being like a Groundhog's Day. It's like resetting.
Right.
To
It's
a
like,
certain moment.
Never mind, you
okay.
didn't.
I buy that.
And
then
and which is why, like, the look on his face at the end after she blips out is like a mixture of, like, oh god, like fear and whatever, but also just confusion. Like, and all the way through the end of the episode, he's like, I'm processing. It's the same thing as what O'Brien went through. Same thing with Picard did in Inner Light. It's like, how do I? It's like if you got blipped back into third grade.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had all of that life experience, but now all of a sudden, like, I'm back in Mrs. O'Brien's class and I have a crayon in my hand. Like, what in God's name? How do I process all of that?
And I think, a powerful lesson of this episode, which is really really great, I think. I'm not sure what was the intent, but something I'm taking from it is that, like, remember season 1, Hemmer, the big heroic way to die. And in this, theoretically, like, in her the eventual outcome is a big heroic sacrifice death, sort of. I mean, I guess she's just staying vigil there. We don't actually know what her existence is going for, but regardless, big heroic death, right? But in the Pocket Universe, where they got the time, it's just a simple passing in bed. And that last scene with Pike and Number 1 in the room, they're the same. Loss is loss. And no matter whether it's heroic, no matter where you get the full life or you don't get a full life, it comes for everyone, right? It is what it is. And I think that's what he's saying. It's like the moments lived in between is the important bit. It's not the big heroic ending or the simple fate at the end. Well, lastly, I know you have some, just, I just, to stay in the Pocket Universe part, I also really found it powerful. We've seen Pike wrestle with the inevitability of the accident on a few different occasions, in a few different ways, with a few different people. But here is another version of him wrestling with it when he's about to go, but he's also living the life he never thought he would get. I never thought we would have this time because of this accident. Not realizing that, A, he would get the opportunity to live it and still have to say goodbye, right? Like, but then doesn't. And there's so much good, furtive, emotional exploration on his part here. Some great acting in this performance. It's so... Okay, go ahead. Take it.
I mean, the gift is... What is a life other than a series of experiences? Right? And what this does, if we are to believe that he experienced all of this and that he remembers all of those experiences, it sort of makes moot what's going to happen to him. Because what would happen to, what happens to him with the accident, whatever, it robs him of a lifetime's worth of experiences. Mm-hmm. This gives it back. So he actually has the full lifetime, and the same with Batel. She lived a full life. It's as if she zorped out Varknark on her deathbed because she lived the entire experience. Mm-hmm. So they both lived a complete and full life. So whatever, in anything they have past that is a bonus at this point because they experienced a full life.
You bring up a great point and another great conversation that I can have very quickly. So I hear some voices who might then complain, well, that's just Trek taking away the impact of his death and giving everybody a happy ending and retconning, like, blah, blah. And maybe there's truth to that, but what that fails to acknowledge is what you just said, all those experiences and that life and getting to experience, they got, right? So maybe during that time, Pike, cured, this is not true, but like, let's say he cured cancer or whatever. Like, he went on to do incredible life things that had impact global, society-wide, or galaxy-wide, quadrant-wide. When we reset, and then he dies in the accident, the rest of us don't get that.
Well, their daughter either will never exist or will not exist in this universe.
And no one will have known that she ever did, right? Like,
no one will have known ever, and all the people around him will not get the benefit of having lived the rest of a normal life. No, he's not dead, but it is it's a fascinating idea, and if you really want to like zoom out, right? Let's say we can put a chip in our head, which we will be at some point. Right. Where we can realistically use AI and live an entire life within our head. Is it real? Is it not real?
Well, you're just extrapolating the holodeck, basically.
Like what's right, but the holodeck but the holodeck is different because you're living time in real life in real time. So if I spend an hour in a holodeck, I've spent an hour of my life. What if every night when I go to bed, I could live a completely different life? And like, what is, like, if it's real to me, is it real? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, great points. I mean, like, let's not get lost in, like, also, was she controlling it? How did, because she mentioned it like, this is my gift to you. So it was implying some sort of an agency, and I don't know, that part is still muddied.
I think she was guiding it in this direction.
So she is the most powerful being we've ever met. I mean, like, these powers are pretty amazing. She can kill evil, and she can makes the paw wraiths look silly.
Some's like, apparently, like, Gorn babies and a flower give you like the power of Q.
Yeah, she's like little pocket universe, and the ability to get him out of it and go back. Like, did she decide when to go back? Did she decide right before she died? Like,
well, but also, was it ever even real, or was it just a simulation?
Yeah.
Probably just a simulation. I don't think it was, like, real.
Well, what I love about it, and maybe, I'm sure there are some very literal folk out there who it bothered. I loved the poetry of it. The poetry of it gave me enough to think about and feel and just kind of experience that that's enough for me. So...
Yeah, I loved it. I loved that part.
Yes. I guess it means...
You get some stamps. Hell yeah, they are self-sealing. Here are some stamps for you.
I'm gonna... Oh, sorry, I'm thinking.
Just sit in the dark.
I keep bringing this up, but... So I just finished Marvel's Wonder Man over on Disney+. And... I loved it. I loved every episode. I loved every second of it. Now, there are people who don't like that it's not very superhero-y, or that it has to be superhero-y at all, right? And the stuff I liked the most about it was the non-superhero-y stuff. Interestingly, this episode is the same thing. I loved that part of it so much. In fact, I will go as far to say is that I think in the whole series, the 3 seasons, 30 episodes we've watched, is the strongest 6 minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Visually, writing, performance.
Yeah.
And I think it's all the stuff we love about Trek, right? It's all the stuff, it's the thinking. It's not even gray area. It's just like the stuff you can't fully articulate, so you just feel it. And that's hard to put on screen, but they're able to do it here. But it is a pocket universe inside of a larger episode that I think follows a lot of the same problems we've had with much of this series, right? It's a lot of gobbledygook that is there for the sake of being there and padding out the time, and not particularly satisfying. We get teased a really cool planet. We don't really spend a lot of time on it. There's a lot of stuff. But I gotta be honest, sometimes, Keith, you go to a wedding. The food is forgettable, but that cake is so good. You always remember that cake. And I think when we look back on this series eventually when it's over, for all the problems we had in season 3, I'm going to remember this part of this episode. That's how strong it is for me.
Yeah.
And so I don't even need to discuss a lot of problems with the other stuff. We talked about it as we went along. That saves it quite a bit. I would say that section alone would be 100 stem bolts. Like, that's how good it is for me. Now, it is 6 minutes in an episode.
Right.
So it cannot get 100 stem bolts. No way.
10% of the running time of an episode.
I'm going to skip the math of it because the pocket universe, in a pocket universe, it can...
time has no meaning.
Time and math mean nothing. So I'm going to still give it... What's my highest ranking this season?
This season, your highest one was 91 for Wedding Bell Blues.
I did love that one. Because I think it was the episode doing the show being its best, or wearing its best clothes, right? It knows that tone very well. And that was 91?
91.
So I cannot exceed it, but I can match it. I'll give it also 91.
Yeah, so kind of everything you said, everything I've said up to this point. Again, it is another lights and technobabble yada 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 wrapped around a moment of genius, right? A moment of glory there, and and what I liked about it is that a lot of the episode asked more questions of like, wait, what? Right? What is going on? Like, how is that connected? What? But this asked the questions, well, if you experience something, is that not real? The nature of reality, the nature of time, and like the real questions, the big questions that we want to ask, like the Star Trek questions, like what counts as life? What is not life? What is real? What is not? What is emotionally? Blah 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 blah. The big questions, the interesting discussions. It opens that up. I love that. That's what I want this whole show to be. I want this every episode to be making us have those discussions about the nature of reality and such, and have it be emotionally connected and satisfying and have continuity to it. I want it to be filled with little nuggets that make you like, there's a moment in that scene where they're getting champagne, but they point out that it's just cider for Pike. Does Pike become sober in this universe? What does that mean? That's an interesting little dangling chad that I'd like to explore more. They didn't hit it, but it was just there, and I clocked it. Like, what does that mean? And I think it's really fascinating, and so I thought that was great. I mean, this season obviously has been a bit of a rough one, but has been frustrating in a lot of ways because we're doing a bunch of genre stuff. We're doing stuff that doesn't really have much to say. This little nuggety center felt like Star Trek. It felt like the real important stuff. And so the hot dog was great. The bun was confusing. So I enjoyed this episode more than I have in a while. The more I think about it, the more frustrating the lack of cleanup in the logic. I really want this writing team to like have another pot of coffee on the A to B to C in each of these episodes. Even if your B is just imaginary, connect the A and the B and the C and let us trust the B, but have it make sense within its own internal logic. This is the problem they have. It doesn't really make sense within their own world, within their own logic, and that's the work that when Star Trek is working, they do that math. They have that second pot of coffee, and they fill in the details there, because each of those little pebbles in your shoes breaks the immersion. It makes it not real. It reminds us it's a TV show written by writers. I don't want to know the writers exist. I don't want constantly thinking about the writers while I'm watching the show, because I'm constantly pulled out of it by something that doesn't make sense or or something that is yada 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 that shouldn't be yada yada yada. So that is my note for season 4, which has already been filmed. Too late. All of that said, big improvement for me, and I enjoyed it. Once we started this sequence, I'm like, oh, nice. Welcome back. 87 self-sealing stem bolts. So so there we are. We are at the end of season 3. So if you're watching this in real time, we'll see you in a while.
Yeah. Who knows?
If you're watching this back in time, you just click on the next episode. Ooh, see, time is not linear.
Yeah, we already lived it, but we didn't yet.
We've already lived it, or have we not? Who's to say? But if you're with us here in this timeline, in our little pocket universe, come join us next week with our first premiere episode of Star Trek Voyager.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. But it depends on where you are in the timeline.
Yeah, patrons will get to watch the episode along with me starting next week. So and maybe
exciting.
you, Keith, are you going to join us for the pilot?
Yeah, probably.
Cool.
We're going to be having my brother come on for some Patreon exclusive stuff, and then some little snippets from the episode who worked on the show. Lots of really, really fun stuff. I'm so excited about it. So hop on board with that. You can also check out look at my Star Trek toys and K&M Geekly, all sorts of good stuff. Goodbye, Jen.
You're taking the dog with you? Yeah.
Take the dog with you. Everybody, go take your dog for a walk. I'm going to take my dog for a stand because he doesn't really walk, but that's okay. We're going to have a good time. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/KNM. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you back next season on Strange New Show. Keith and Mike watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds.